Welcome to Signal Center's Children's Services. We are so glad you're here. We look forward to you being a part of our team. Signal Center's Children's Services is a program unlike others in the area. This program offers an integrated model of teaching that serves children of all abilities. Children's Services serves about 120 children in total. Children with disabilities makes up about 60% of these students. Volunteers have a unique opportunity to engage in this classroom and truly be a positive light for the children. Through this program, volunteers can connect, play, grow, and make the classroom experience the best possible for everyone. We want to ensure you have all the tools you need before entering the classroom. This training program will cover teacher expectations for volunteers, a day in the life of a child care volunteer, and basic do's and don'ts volunteers must abide by. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, welcome to Signal Centers. I just want to talk a little bit about what is expected of volunteers here in Children's Services. A good volunteer in this program is one that understands there are always things to be done. In this program, there are always opportunities to help, and no task is too small. If you find yourself in between wrangling kids, pick up some cleaning supplies and disinfect toys. Clean up some changing tables. Though these are simple tasks, they truly make a huge difference in the classroom. This also creates a clean, safe space for the children to learn and play. A good volunteer in our program is one who can display strong communication skills and are able to be creative. We want our volunteers to always go in with an intentional mindset. Volunteers need to be prepared to be flexible and provide task assistance wherever it is needed. We consider volunteers to be assets to our team. Our teachers and our students value the work that you do. Finally, we hope that this video gives you the tools to be the most prepared in the classroom as possible. But remember, if you ever have a question, our Signal Centers team is always there to help you. Let's take a look at what a day in the life of a Children's Services volunteer looks like.
Here we have a volunteer, eager and ready to get started for a fun-filled day ahead. As a volunteer enters the building, they must sign their name, the date, and the time of service on the sign-in sheet. This sign-in sheet is located at the front desk of the agency. Volunteers must repeat this task every day that they plan to volunteer. The volunteer will make sure to look at the class schedule of their classroom so they know what different activities will occur throughout the day. This schedule will be posted outside the door of the class. If it is not, the schedule can be found in the Volunteer Materials folder located in various locations depending on the classroom. Be sure to ask teachers where this is located and that you have access to it throughout the day. The first thing a volunteer will do when entering the classroom is wash their hands. This is super important to prevent excess germs from spreading in the classroom. If a specific activity has not begun yet, the volunteer will look around the room to find a child to play and connect with. Oftentimes, children will be playing alone or with groups of friends. Jump in and join the fun wherever you think there is a need. If there is downtime before activities, volunteers are encouraged to consult with teachers to get to know the students in the classroom. This can be helpful to ensure the volunteer knows common mannerisms of the children. At Signal Centers, mealtimes are considered high-risk activities. It is important to administer proper supervision to avoid allergic reactions, choking, or other incidents. Volunteers are also not permitted to bring outside snacks for the children. Volunteers are encouraged to consult with the teacher to understand all dietary restrictions the children may have. This will ensure the children are free from potential food-related hazards. Next, it's time for outdoor play. It is very important for volunteers to be on high alert during this portion of the day. This will begin by helping teachers line up children to walk over to the playground. This may include encouraging children, holding hands with them, and ensuring they make their way to the playground safely. During this time, it is important to do a head count of children to ensure everyone made it outside. Once you are out on the playground, you will engage in crowd control. This includes making sure gates are closed properly and making sure children remain within the designated areas of the playground. We ask that volunteers keep their eyes on any child not in accompaniment of a teacher, staff member, or other authorized personnel. Further, ensure children are engaging in play that is safe and fun. This includes ensuring children keep certain objects out of their mouths and keeping an eye on activities such as throwing dirt, sand, or other objects. If you see a child displaying behaviors that you are unsure of how to handle, call upon a teacher and switch out positions with them. Finally, make sure to have fun. We want you and the kids to have a fun time connecting with one another. After a fun afternoon of play, it is time for a nap. For the kids, that is. When it is nap time, volunteers will help prepare the mats in the floor for the children to nap on. They will also assist the teacher to ensure the space is calm and quiet. If the kids are having difficulty winding down, assist them to do so. This may be encouraging them to read a book quietly or having quiet time in the sensory area. If there are no children having difficulty winding down, this is a good opportunity to conduct cleaning tasks around the room. Working in childcare can be busy. Oftentimes, deep cleaning is not always accomplished. Taking this time to disinfect toys, clean underneath the chairs, and clean the changing table can be very helpful to keep providing a clean and safe space for the children and the staff. Remember, if you find yourself without a task, refer to the volunteer folder. Inside this folder is a list of tasks that can always be done. Now that you know what a day in the classroom is like, let's look at the do's and don'ts in the classroom every volunteer should know before they start volunteering. In this segment, we will demonstrate best and worst practices that should be executed when volunteering with children. We will demonstrate the basic code of conduct so that volunteers know how to act in difficult situations. First, volunteers are not permitted to discipline children. This includes actions such as shouting, spanking, striking, grabbing, degrading remarks, or verbal shaming. Verbal shaming can be defined as calling someone names, diminishing self-worth, or making them feel useless. Second, volunteers who engage in abusive behavior of children will be terminated from service immediately. These actions include the following. Number 1, threatening. This is defined as taking hostile action against someone or something. This can also be causing someone to be vulnerable or at risk of danger. Finally, this can be when the action is likely to produce an unpleasant or unwelcome outcome. Number 2, withholding. This can be with food, kindness, or basic care. And number 3, cruelty. If a volunteer sees or observes any abusive conduct, report this to a teacher or the Children's Services Director immediately. The Children's Services Director's office is located here. Once the volunteer has expressed the concern to faculty, the faculty will take necessary steps to ensure the matter is properly reported if necessary. Volunteers are not permitted to be alone with the children at any time while volunteering. If a volunteer is ever alone with a child, they should immediately find a teacher or staff member to escort them back to a supervised area. This rule is to ensure the children are safe and have proper supervision. Volunteers are not permitted to carry participants. This includes the following actions. Number 1, picking children up. Number 2, horseplay that involves children being elevated off the ground. Number 3, lifting children to reach an object. And number 4, putting children over shoulders or piggyback. Volunteers are also not permitted to let children sit in their laps unless this action is cleared by supervisors. If a child requests to sit with you, ask a teacher first before allowing the child to do so. Finally, volunteers should not push children in mobility devices. If this action is needed for any reason, volunteers should use their own discretion in deciding to engage. It is important that volunteers do not engage in physically strenuous activities that could result in injury. Volunteers are not permitted to dismiss children from the classroom. These situations can occur during parent-child drop-off, child pickup, or any other situation where a child needs to be dismissed from the classroom. All transitions of children out of the classroom should be handled only by teachers or other authorized personnel. If a volunteer is with a child during this time, it is important the volunteer directs all dismissal inquiries to a teacher before a child can exit the group. Volunteers are not permitted to provide toilet or diaper services to children under any circumstance. If children require this assistance under a volunteer's supervision, be sure to direct them to a teacher immediately. Volunteers are not permitted to use profane, vulgar, or inappropriate language or actions. This type of language is any language that could be rude, impolite, indecent, or culturally offensive in any way. This type of profanity can be expressed in the following ways: presented on clothing, accompanying gestures, or jokes or satirical expressions of any kind. As a team member at Signal Centers, we expect volunteers to present themselves in a responsible manner. Volunteers should always act as a member of the team responsible for carrying out the mission of the agency. This includes working with staff and taking the role seriously. Volunteers should also be positive role models for the children. This is done by presenting themselves with attitudes of respect, loyalty, patience, courtesy, and maturity. Now that you know all the ins and outs of a Signal Center's classroom, you are ready to begin volunteering. We want you to have a fun and rewarding experience. And remember, for any scheduling changes or cancellations of volunteer services, please contact the volunteer coordinator. This will ensure that everyone on the Children's Services team is informed. Thank you for joining us.